Gotcha! Oh, bang! Yeah!
Hey, Auto Boppers and Decepticats, taking a look at another Transformer here. It's from the new Kingdom line, War for Cybertron. It is Warpath, and I'm not getting most of these modern Transformers, although I am really appreciating them from afar and wishing that these had come out 10 years earlier. I probably would have gotten these instead of all the Masterpiece ones because they have almost the detail and articulation as the Masterpiece ones, but for so much better a price. Great box art. And look at the tank mode right there. On the back you get a picture of the toy and a medley image on the side. Warpath is one of the more charming Autobots. He's got what I've seen referred to as Cybertronian Tourette's.
The only thing you have to worry about is zap! How big a path you want! Bam!
And that's what I always think of whenever I think of Warpath. Just kind of like John Wayne with an uncontrollable verbal tick. Super cool character. One of the few Autobots from the first couple of years of Transformers that can transform into a tank. And the sculpting on this guy is really nice. He's almost a Masterpiece scale. I can bring out a couple of other Masterpiece scaled Transformers to show you. He's just a little on the small side. Bad Cube's War Dog, I think, is just too big to be a Masterpiece Warpath. But this guy, I think he's a little too small because he's just about the exact same size as Masterpiece Bumblebee. And Warpath should be just a bit bigger. I mean, that's up to you if you want your Warpath to be the same size as Prowl or even bigger. If you want him to be like Ironhide sized, that's fine. But I think Warpath, to me, I like him being a mini-bot, but a little bigger than a regular mini-bot. And this is part of the transformation. So if you want him to look a little more G1 looking, then you can just pull that out and that automatically looks more like the original 85 toy, or you can collapse it like that. Head articulation is great. Full 360 because of the ball joint. And it's nice when the ball joint actually allows for a little bit of both up and down movement as well as a little bit of head tilting. I really like it when these Autobots are able to do that little inquisitive head tilt. And great shoulder articulation, although he's got a little bit of shielding. Guess this is kibble for tank mode. That blocks a little bit of that range in the shoulder. But I do like how that looks in bot mode. He's a tank, so I don't mind having little armor pieces all around him. Shoulder movement is great. Elbow articulation. As a G1, as a guy who grew up on G1, anytime I see a moving elbow on a Transformer, that's awesome. Fists actually rotate. Good deal. That's nice. And then, you know, I've always got to check the kick. See if he can do that good old King Leonidas kick. And I don't think that should be too much trouble. In order to get him to do it, it's always fun to... This is part of what I consider playing with your toys as a full-grown adult, just to kind of, almost like Jenga, see what you can do with them. He's a little trickier, I'll tell you, because of the way the feet are designed with this little nub right there and a wheel. So that's making him not as flat-footed as most other Transformers. It's a little tougher to get him to do that. Splits for a tank, who knew? No problem for him, he's quite flexible. Doesn't seem like he restricts himself very much with the parts. Great knee bend too. The feet are really big. And there is no foot tilt because his feet are giant pieces of tank. They do pivot a little bit though. So if you do want to put him in like a wide-legged ready stance, it's nice that you can tilt those feet. Like this is not good. This is a Titan's Return Fortress Maximus look right there. And I am not a fan of that at all. I just do not like that look. I'd rather have just straight ahead like that than standing on the edges of your feet. Being able to do that makes a big difference. Great for stability though. Really, really nice. robot mode on this guy. And let me bring in a couple of other Transformers, side-by-side comparisons. And here's a couple of other Masterpiece scaled Transformers. Just a teeny tiny bit bigger than Bumblebee. Not enough. Bumblebee is such a tiny guy that Warpath should be at least a few heads bigger than him. And it is Beachcomber, Mr. Chill. Oh, it's Arc Rose, really. X-Transbots, I believe. A little taller than Warpath, unless you straighten him up a little bit. Not just a question of height, though. Girth, too. This Warpath is really not much thicker and heavier looking than this really beautiful Beachcomber figure. And then, just to drive the point home, here's Powerglide, who should be about the same size, if not a little bit smaller than Warpath, so that just doesn't work at all. And then if you put this Powerglide next to Bumblebee, that looks just about right. Because here's a Masterpiece Prowl, who is just a bit bigger than Powerglide, but quite a bit bigger than Bumblebee. And let's put Warpath right next to Prowl, and as you can see, he's just too tiny compared to Prowl. So that's the size comparisons with the Masterpiece guys. And here he is with his original self, the G1 1985 Warpath. And they've really stayed true to the design of the original one, with the one of the little differences that they've moved this tread that's on the back of his shoulder to the forearm, but still have the treads on the feet, and these little nubs on the side of the turret are sort of represented on the new one. Be able to see that better when I transform him into tank mode. And the head is also an homage to the original one as well. So that's what I was mentioning earlier. If you pull out the turret, then that gives you a G1 style look. And that's also his weapon when he's in robot mode. Instead of having a gun like a lot of Transformers do, he gets to use the same weapon he has in vehicle mode as he does in robot mode. Warpath in tank mode, there he is alongside his original G1 self, or this is a reissue, so the color I think is a little bit brighter than on the original one. And one thing that was always cool about the original one is that he could do a little peekaboo in tank mode, and I guess he can still do that in Kingdom mode. Yeah, he can. Bam! Peekaboo! Zorn. Pop that back in there. So even though he doesn't... Oh, that's annoying. Really match up perfectly. Yeah, you're just going to want to keep trying to get those tabs to plug in. Here's a Masterpiece Hot Rod, who is a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger. Warpath has this thing in the show where he seems to grow, mass shifting I guess, when he transforms into tank mode. He's a lot bigger in tank mode.
Hoist, old buddy! I think it's time we BAM join the party!
So that works, him being a little bit taller than an Autobot car. And here's another mini-bot, or at least a third-party mini-bot. There's Outback, who is quite a bit taller, but just about the same size. Just about right. Warpath with, or Brawn, Bad Cube's Brawn. Pretty much the same size, so nice in tank mode, but as long as you don't touch them, everything feels like it's just wanting to misalign. These want to go in. All the tabs either pop out, or if you just move it a little bit, they want to pop out. Nice display piece, but not too good with futzing around with. And the final side-by-side, of course. I feel like I'm seeing double. So that's Kingdom Warpath. Kind of a mixed bag, kind of like RC was. I like them a little bit better than RC, but since they haven't made an official Masterpiece Warpath yet, if you have a bunch of Masterpiece Transformers all in vehicle mode, then I think this guy would fit in perfectly with them. If you're mainly a Masterpiece collector, you're better off waiting for the official masterpiece Warpath, because this guy is affordable, I guess, but he's got a lot more drawbacks, I feel, than a lot of the other Kingdom and Earthrise figures do. So that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, till all are fun.